Well, so I just did the work that you told us if we can do it last time.
Which one you mean?
The where we should calculate the producer surplus before the tax. You know that graph last time when we were having a class.
You mean the last homework that I have given to you, or you are asking me to help you about the surplus?
No. That homework. I mean, I solved it because I was having so many assignments as well. You know, submitting one after the other. So
You can send me via email if you, because the last one is not uploaded to the system, and it is also not as an assignment given. It is given as a helping hand to increase your final results. You understand?
yes.
If you do this or did it, send me the email, then I will add your points to the final exam. Okay?
Okay, sure. No problem. I will do that right away.
Okay. Okay, today we are going to the production or cost of production that we have done in our last lecture. We will have some calculations and then go to the last chapter. Unfortunately, this semester I'm not going to give you the monopoly and monopsony, as I said to you last week. We had the holidays, I think, and it is not able to complete the all chapters. The production side is concentrated to the supply side, and we are questioning the producer, the cost of production, how we are going to manage this production to become more effective to increase and enlarge the profit. And as it is written here, there are many different types of cost in the production operation process. As I have mentioned to you, implicit cost, explicit cost that we mentioned in the last lecture. And we are going to a little bit analyze this today and estimate. There are fixed costs as it is introduced to you in the last chapter, variable costs, and marginal cost, total cost, opportunity cost. These are the costs that we are using, and the productivity, which is very important in the production operation process to increase and enlarge for becoming more productive and becoming more effective in the market for capturing more profit and enlarging and increasing your market share. And fixed cost, as you are understanding, it is the constant cost of the firm, which is not changing. It is only the materials or the company's founding cost that is used for the whole period of time during the production operation process. And it's not change. In the long run, there are no fixed costs since all costs are variable, because we suppose it is in the short run these are realized, and in the long run we are using the variable cost in the production operation process. In the short run, number of costs will be fixed. And workers represents workers' salaries or wages are dependent to the variable cost and concentrated comprises in the variable cost, and these are the changing periods during the period of time. The sum of the variables and the fixed costs are the total cost, and the total cost is the fixed cost plus variable cost, or so-called the total fixed cost and total variable cost will then create the total cost. As it is given here, the total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost, and the average cost is the fixed cost divided by the quantity, so-called the average fixed cost, average variable cost. If it is average variable cost, then we are using variable cost dividing to the quantity produced. And average variable cost, as I mentioned to you, will be divided to the variable cost to the quantity, will be divided to the quantity. And the average total cost is the summation of this, the average fixed cost and the average variable cost. The average total cost and the average fixed cost plus average variable cost will be added, and then the average total cost is estimated. So then fixed cost divided to Q, or the quantity produced, plus variable cost divided to the quantity will gives you the average total cost. And the average total cost, as it is indicated here, total cost dividing to the total output. We are going to represent and illustrate this on the graphic in few slides. Average total cost is the per unit cost derived by the dividing total cost by the quantity of output and plotting the cost on the vertical axis and the quantity of the output on the horizontal axis generates the average total cost. As I have always illustrating and representing you, the quantity produced is always on the x-axis, and the price and the other costs on the other parameters always represented in the vertical axis. The fixed costs are those that are spent and cannot be changed in the period of time under the consideration, as I mentioned to you in the beginning. And in the long run, there are no fixed costs, since all inputs and therefore the costs are variable. In the short run, number of inputs and their costs will be fixed, but in the long run, it is vice versa. Workers are an example for the variable cost. Workers' wages, workers' salary, dependent or concentrated or comprises in the variable cost, and these are changing by time. The sum of the variables and fixed costs, as it is represented with fixed cost plus variable cost, and the total cost of production when we are looking to the average fixed cost is equal to the fixed cost dividing to the quantity, as it is mentioned, and the average variable cost is the variable cost divided to the quantity, and then average total cost is the total cost divided to the quantity, and the average total cost is also represented with the average fixed cost plus average variable cost. And the marginal cost is the derivation of the total cost divided to the differentiation of the quantity, so-called the total cost in the last minus total cost in the former divided to the quantity last unit minus to the former, or so-called the delta Q, and delta total cost will be divided to the delta Q, or so-called the differentiation of the total cost will be divided to the differentiation of the total quantity. And average total cost is represented here, as you are observing, is U-shaped, is normal represented, and it is starting some higher points, and it comes to the lower, where it is the optimal position of the firms, and then it goes to the negative. Therefore, we are trying to find the best possible combination when we are having the market and the production capacity in firms estimated, and we want to get more profit, because as much as you are reducing your cost, your benefits or the profit will be enlarged. Therefore, the minimum point of the total cost is supposed to be the best possible option for the firms. And here you are understanding these U shapes, the lowest point is the best possible combination probably for this company. Marginal cost is the cost where the increase or decrease in the total cost of increasing or decreasing in the level of output by 1 unit is the additional unit which is added to the production operation process will be estimated by using this marginal cost. And in deciding how many units to produce, the most important variable is the marginal cost, because you are always concentrating to the marginal cost of the firms for estimating its productivity either. And the productivity, as you are remembering, it is delta Q over delta L or delta Q over delta K, where you are using the factors of production will be divided for estimating the inputs, or so-called the factors which is going to be used in the production operation process, so-called the factors of production, will be always divided to the total quantity or the differentiation of the quantities, then gives you the productivity. And here is also delta total cost will be divided to the delta Q. marginal cost, a change in cost caused by an change in output is supposed to be giving the marginal cost. As I mentioned, the delta total cost divided to delta Q is the marginal cost, which is the differentiation of the total cost and the differentiation of the production or the quantity produced is divided. Then the marginal cost will be estimated. And marginal cost is supposed to be change in total cost will be divided to the change in the quantity of output, so-called the delta total cost will be divided to the delta quantity. This will then helping hand for managing the production operation process. Here we are having the example. The fixed cost is always $50, let's say, or 50 units, as you are observing. If you have any question, ask me. And variable cost is changing because, as I said to you, it is somehow the employee wages or salaries or some other variable cost, which is depending to the input usage, electricity, or some other inputs that we use in the production operation process will add at each other. The fixed cost plus variable cost will gives you the total cost, and the marginal cost, as I said to you, is the division of this total cost to the quantity. And here is the output, the quantity, so-called the produced goods and services, and the total cost is the 88. These are dividing each other, but you have to subtract from each other. For example, if you want to find the 4 units marginal cost, then the 4 you're gonna subtract the 100 minus 88 divided to the 4 minus 3. Then this will then gives you 12. As you are understand, the first unit is not going to be estimated because we are adding each units to the production operation process, and this will then create the marginal cost because every additional contribution to the production operation process will gives you this marginal cost. And when you are looking to the tens, then you are going to subtract again the 158 from 150, and you're going to subtract it from the quantity 10 minus 9. As you see, it is 8. And when you want to calculate the 17 output units marginal cost, then you're going to subtract it from 207 minus 200, which is 7 units is the total cost, will be divided to the 17 minus 16. The last output will be subtracted from the former, is then the 1 again. Then the marginal cost is again 7. And for the 23rd units of outputs, marginal cost is then 10, because you're gonna subtract first 260 minus 250, which is 10 units or $10, will be divided to the again 1, because 23rd unit will be subtracted from the 22nd, and this is then again 1 unit produced goods. Then its contribution and the cost to the firm is 10. Then as you are observing here, the marginal cost, the lowest marginal cost is realized at 10 somehow. Therefore, we have to think about where is the best possible combination and production operation process for the firm. Then you have to determine regarding to this estimation. Then average fixed cost, as I mentioned to you, is the fixed cost divided to the quantity, and fixed cost is 50. Then you're gonna divide this 3, and for the second you're gonna divide again 50 to the 12 to the 4, and for the 50 you're gonna divide the 9, and it goes like this. If you are understanding, for the average fixed cost, which is estimated for the 10 units, is then divided to the 50 fixed cost divided to the 10. Then it is giving you the $5, let's say, or unit fixed cost, average fixed cost for this firm. And when you want to calculate for the 16, then you're gonna divide this 50 to the 16. Then this will then gives you 3.13. You are understanding, I think. Then average variable cost, similarly, you're gonna divide the variable cost to the output. Then it is 38 divided to the 3. Then it will gives you then 12.66. Then you're gonna divide the 4 units estimation for the average variable cost. Then 50 divided to the 4 is again 12.50. Then you're gonna divide then 100 for the 9th units is going to be divided to 9, then it is giving you 11.11. For the 10th units, average variable cost will be then 108 divided to the 10. It is giving you then 10.80. And then the last that I'm going to do you for this example, let's say 22 or 22nd output variable cost will be divided 250 to the 22. Then this will then gives you 9.09. I hope you are understanding. Average total cost then is the summation of these two. Okay, 16 plus 12, 12 plus 12, 12.50 plus 12.50 is 25. 5.56 plus 11.11 is 16.67. It goes like this. I hope you understand. If you have any question with these estimations or calculations, please remind me to explain you once again. If not, then I'm going to jump up to the next slide. You have any?
Excuse me, sir.
If you have any problem with these estimations or calculations, I can help you once again. Or if
Yes,
you are
sir. Yes, sir. I have one question, sir. If you look at the marginal cost, sir, for the output 3, it has no value. For the output 9, there is no value as well. So why is this happening? I have this question.
It is not estimated.
Okay.
You can calculate it if you want. No problem. You can put it. If you want, you can put it. 9 here, for example, the total cost, delta total cost, 158 minus 150 is 8. Then you're gonna subtract 10 minus 9, then it is giving you 1, then is 8. For the 9, you can calculate 150 minus 100 is 50, then divided to the 1 is going to be then 50, isn't it? It goes like this. You have to use this estimation for the other or the rest, but it is not necessarily given for this example. Okay.
Okay. Sir, one more question. Sir, what is the difference between variable cost and marginal cost? Can you explain this?
Variable cost is the cost that is added regarding to the employee. For example, you are calculating the variable cost and only the employee or the labor cost is included into the variable cost. Therefore, this will then gives you the variable cost for the employees. But marginal cost is the additional unit which you are adding to the production operation process. As you are observing here, you are moving from third to the fourth, and this will then create some marginal cost because creating one more unit, additional one more unit, estimated marginal cost, then gives you the cost of this additional unit. I hope you are understanding. Variable cost is the cost that is not fixed. It is dependent to the so-called employee or electricity or some other transportation, some other products input, some let's say resources which is used in the production operation process. And fixed cost, as I said to you, you are building a factory and the cost of this fixed is not changed, and then you are always adding this to the production operation process as a fixed cost. But the variable cost is the things that you are always using, circulating your business, because you need somebody to do this, for creating some products or for transporting, distributing, or using some electricity, maintaining your production operation process. These are the variable costs. And the marginal cost, every additional unit's contribution to the firm, because you want to know how many units you produce to become more productive. And here you are observing the 10th probably the best possible option, because the lowest marginal contribution is this one. Marginal lowest cost is the 10th unit, and then it goes 7, and then it goes 10 again, and then around 10 to 16, maybe 17, you may maintain your production operation process. After then 20 probably you will have some problem because it is increasing your cost, isn't it? Therefore, you are looking to these estimations by calculating this marginal cost either, and then average total cost, and then the everything, then determine which one is better fitted to your production operation process. And as I said to you, here it is not given, and in the former lectures I have given to you, delta Q over delta L is the productivity. And if you want to estimate the labor's productivity, because not only the marginal cost, but the labor cost is also important, or the productivity of the firms is also important for giving you an information which is the best possible determination for the production operation process. And if the delta Q over delta L, for example, if you want to calculate the productivity, let's say the variable cost is representing the labor, and it is the labor's cost here given, and labor cost is represented with the variable cost, and you can calculate the productivity by using this 4 minus 3, for example, is 1, divided to the variable cost 15 minus 38, which is 12. Then this will then 1 over 12 will gives you somehow 0.1 productivity for these units. Therefore, if you are calculating this productivity for the given contributions and the products, then you will determine how many units or people you want to employ for becoming more effective in the production operation process. Therefore, we are having here only the cost and benefits of the firms, and here we are estimating the cost of these firms production operation process. But also, as I said to you, you can add here the productivity, where you can put the labor additional labor's contribution to the firm, and then determine every additional labor's contribution to the firm, and then you will estimate the best possible combination for this firm and tell them then, okay, this is the best possible let's say 10 employee or 50 employee is enough for you. If you increase to 60 or 100, you will start losing your profit, and it is not good for you. Then you may give some report or prepare some analyze and deliver to the firm. Then tell them you have to determine where you are going to enlarge and increase your production operation process. If you want to become a large firm or large size firm, then your cost will be excess the profit, and you start to lose your profit, and it becomes probably in problem, and you probably require some bailout, bankrupt. You understand? This is how it is realized in the production operation. That is the reason most of the startup business are not maintaining their production operation process, and they are bankrupt in 2 years or 3 years. They are requiring some bailout, which is not easy to maintain this kind of activities in the economy, because the firms and the capacities are very large and huge. Markets supposed to be very big to absorb you, but it is not easy to maintain your existence if you don't analyze your performance and your production and the direction where you are going to enlarge and increase your market. Okay, go to the next graphic. To gain a greater understanding of these concepts, it is a good idea to draw the graph, because you want to show also you want to illustrate the existing table on the graphic, which is shapes always bringing better understanding for those people who are not very well with the numbers. And quantity is put on the horizontal axis, as I said to you, and the dollar measures of the cost on the vertical axis. And let's represent the graphic. The total variable cost curve has the same shape on the total cost curve, and increasing output increase the variable cost. And when we are putting this, then fixed cost, as I mentioned, it is $50, or let's say 50 something unit. Then it is a parallel line to the x-axis, because it is not changing. And when you are going to put the variable cost, as you are observing, as much as you are enlarging and increasing your quantity produced, the total cost or the variable cost is also affected and is parallelly enlarged and increased, which is proportional with the total cost and the quantity produced. And when you are seeing the total cost, because in the total cost you are adding the fixed cost, and as you see, the fixed cost is added now to the total cost, and it is shifted the units from 0 to 50. And it is then here giving you the variable cost plus fixed cost, which is represented on the total cost curve. And similarly, this is also parallel and proportional with the total, with the cost and the quantity. And this is then the reason why firms' total cost is always increasing and enlarging and creating some problem to the economy. Therefore, you have to maintain a reasonable production operation process for not losing your market share and not losing your profit for creating your business problem. And the numbers and the points which is illustrated here, as you are observing, the M is represented with the 10 units of quantity, and Q is also similarly, and as you are observing, L is a little bit shifted to the right left side and somehow is affected because total cost plus variable cost is altogether a little bit shifted to the left side amount of this produced goods and services. The marginal cost curve goes through the minimum point of the average total cost curve and average variable cost curve. As I mentioned to you, the minimum points of this U-shaped curves is also intersect by the marginal cost, and this is then the best possible combination for this production. And as you are observing this U-shaped, the average fixed cost curve slopes down continuously, but of course, it can be a vertical, parallel, or horizontal line, as I said to you, but it can sometimes go because we are not always having the fixed cost always a unit number, but we have sometimes a little bit higher and lower, and therefore it is somehow is inversely proportional relationship between the quantity. And the average fixed cost curve looks like a child slide, and it starts out with a step decline, then it becomes flatter and flatter. As I mentioned, it is coming from the upper and goes to the flatter, to the horizontal line, to the x-axis. And it tells us that output increases, the same fixed cost can be spread out over a wide range of output. And as it is going to be represented, you will see when output is increased in the short run, it can only be done by increasing the variable cost. Otherwise, you cannot do this. And marginal and average productivities fall and marginal cost rise as it is expected. And average total cost curve is the vertical summation of the average fixed cost curve and the average variable cost curve. Firm's eye is focused on average total cost. It wants to keep it low. As much as it is low, then you are having better off position. Ballet, you have problem. Per unit output cost curve, it is represented here the cost on the vertical and the quantity on the horizontal. This is the average fixed cost. As I mentioned to you, it goes to the parallel. It starts from the higher because let's say you start a building, a factory, and it may create some higher amount to you, but then this will steadily comes after the production operation process enlarge and the units of production enlarge and increase. Then it will becomes steadily positioned and parallel to the x-axis and stay intact and becomes maintained on this parallel line. And the variable cost is higher than this because it is added to each other. Average fixed cost will be added to the average variable cost to increase the average total cost, shifted parallel to the almost to the average fixed cost, which is increase and shift the cost of this production by increasing this average variable cost and adding this fixed cost together. And the marginal cost, as I mentioned to you, is intersecting the average variable cost and the average total cost, because these are supposed to be the best possible option for these companies' production operation process. You see there are 3 points here where the one is represented on the 12 units, which is not preferable. On the 20 units is also not, but after then somehow 22nd, then it becomes better off because the marginal cost and the average variable cost is intersecting each other between this 20 and 24, which is supposed to be acceptable range. And the best, as I said, it is the minimum points where it is intersecting the average variable cost and average total cost. This marginal cost intersection will be the minimum points. The relationship between the marginal and average cost is going to be enlarged again to you and introduced. Marginal cost and average cost curves are related. When marginal cost exceeds average cost must be rising. And marginal cost is less than average cost must be falling. When marginal cost is less than average cost, then average cost must be falling, as it is expected. And here, as you are observing, it is intersecting the marginal cost and average cost each other at a point where this illustrated. And here, as it is mentioned to you, when marginal cost is less than average cost must be falling, which means marginal cost here, as you are observing, is less until it is intersecting. Marginal cost is less than average cost must be falling. The average cost is supposed to be reduced, and when you are intersecting it, then it says when marginal cost exceeds the average cost must be falling, which is the better for this case. The marginal cost curve always intersect average cost curve and the minimum of this average cost curves, and the position of the marginal cost relative to the average total cost tell us whether average total cost is rising or falling. And as I said to you, the left side is expected to be increased and the right side is expected to be reduced if it is intersect each other. If marginal cost higher than the average total cost, then the average total cost is rising. If marginal cost is higher than the average variable cost, then the average variable cost is rising. And if marginal cost is less than average total cost, then the average total cost is falling. And if marginal cost is less than average variable cost, then the average variable cost is falling. And this means that marginal cost is equal to average variable cost and the marginal cost is equal to average total cost. Then the average total cost and the average variable cost and average total cost are the minimum points when the marginal cost intersect these curves. And these are the minimum points for these represented curves. Average total cost curves and the average variable cost curves are at the minimum points when this marginal cost curve intersecting. And as it is represented here, the average variable cost curve is the minimum point when the marginal cost curve intersect. And also average total cost curve is also at the minimum when the marginal cost curve intersect these each others. And below to the right side, when you are thinking it is higher, and to the left, when it is intersection accepted, it is then the lower cost is represented, and it is expected to be enlarged. The marginal cost curve goes through the minimum points of both the average total cost curve and the average variable cost curve, as I mentioned to you. And to summarize this, then the marginal cost curve is supposed to be higher than the average total cost curve, then the average total cost curve is rising. And if marginal cost curve is equal to the average total cost curve, then the average total cost curve is at low points. And if marginal cost curve is less than average total cost curve, then the average total cost curve is falling. And marginal and average total cost reflects a general relationship that also holds for marginal cost and average variable cost. If marginal cost curve is higher than the average variable cost curve, then the average variable cost curve is rising. And if marginal cost curve is equal to the average variable cost curve, then the average variable cost curve is at low point. And if marginal cost curve is less than average variable cost, then the average variable cost curve is falling, because average variable marginal cost curve is less, because it is still in the below. Therefore, it is expected average variable cost is falling until it is intersecting. When it is intersecting, marginal cost curve becomes higher than the average variable cost curve. Then this is supposed to be the average variable cost curve is rising. This means above this curve is not preferred for the production operation process. it should be either in the lowest point or below. It should be the marginal cost lower than the average variable cost. Otherwise, the average variable cost curve is not falling. It is increasing if the marginal cost curve is exceeding the average variable cost curve. Then this means the average variable cost curve continue to enlarge and increase, and this is not good for the films. And the long run, as long as average variable cost does not rise by more than average fixed cost falls, then the average total cost will fall when marginal cost is above average variable cost. Then when we are going to look to this graphic you are observing here, then the average total cost curve and the marginal cost curve is intersecting each other when it is added with the fixed cost, average fixed cost, and this will then represent it with the intersection of the average total cost curve and the average marginal cost curve. Sorry, this marginal cost curve, the purple, the dark purple intersection with the marginal cost curve, this light blue, then representing the film's lowest combination. As you are observing here, these areas between the average variable cost to average total cost is somehow the expected lower production cost. Moving from A to B is okay, but above B is not desired. Definition of the cost: total cost, the expenses of business, has in supplying goods and services. A total fixed cost, payments to resources whose quantities cannot be changed during a fixed period of time, the short run so-called. And the variable cost, payments for additional resources used as output increases. And average fixed cost, the total fixed cost divided by the total output as we exercised. And the average total cost, the total cost of production divided by the total quantity of output produced when at least one resource is fixed. And the average variable cost, total variable cost divided by the total output. And this is the first part of our presentation. Now I'm going to the second part of this class, then finish our semester for this year. And Monday at 10 o'clock we have the exam, you know, I think, isn't it? At 10, it is changed from 9 to 10 because it was at 9. You know this, I think.
Sir, no.
Yes,
Sir, I just knew it right now.
Yes, we do.
So you know at 10 it will be started and goes to 10, 11, 11, 11, 11, 10. Some 70 minutes I'm going to give you. And the submission until 20, 11, 20. I extended a little bit more because last semester, last exam, you had some problem because you delayed to submit. And I will then extend some minutes. I will give you some minutes to submit your exam. For the exam, I have to give you some information about the exam, or maybe I will give you at the end of this second presentation, okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Let me
Okay.
finish this also, then I will give you some information. Okay, the competitive markets. We are now in the competitive markets. As I have represented here, the production function, which is only the quantity of labor. The labor is represented with the production, total production process, or function represented only with the one factors of production, which is the labor here represented. As I mentioned to you, if we have three-dimensional, then we may add the capital either, but we are always using two-dimensional representations, and we are using either labor or capital. And here we are using the capital, labor, and the produce goods and services is also in the vertical. Y is the output and supposed to be K multiplied L is the production function for this given example. And where is K the capital and L is the labor. As I said to you, we are considering here only the labor. Once again, flashback to the last chapter. The marginal for the productivity, we are always expecting to have the minimum points of this average variable cost and average total cost, where it is intersected with by marginal cost. Otherwise, if it is above, it is not desired, and if it is below, then it is still in the because above this marginal cost, the average total cost curve and the variable cost is supposed to be enlarged, and below it is supposed to be decreasing and coming to the zero somehow. Therefore, the intersection points of this average total cost and marginal cost curve is the lowest combination. And average variable cost, once again, is the total variable cost divided to the Q, and average fixed cost is the total fixed cost divided to the Q again, and total cost is then average variable cost plus average fixed cost multiplied with the quantity of goods if it is not given. And average fixed cost is equal to the average total cost minus average variable cost. If you're going to replace each other's from the above given equation, then you will get this. And total variable cost is the variable cost per unit multiplied with the quantity of goods. And the total fixed cost is then, if you're going to replace the total cost with the total fixed cost, then you will get this total fixed cost, total cost minus total variable cost will be estimated. And here it is given the total variable cost is a U shape starting from the origin, which is never realized because we are always having some fixed cost. And the total fixed cost is represented with the horizontal red line. And the total cost is then starting from this red line because the fixed cost is added to the variable cost for estimating total cost. And then if it is extended and enlarged, you can put also the marginal cost on this curve where it is the lowest point, almost comes approach to the y-axis. And the revenue here going to be estimated. Total revenue is the price and the quantity for the revenue for the resources that you are collecting. The total revenue is equal to the price of the product multiplied with the amount of the product, and the total cost, because we want to estimate the profit now, because profit is then P is equal to total revenue minus total cost that I'm going to give you now. Total cost is the fixed cost plus variable cost, and total cost is then total fixed cost plus total variable cost, and total fixed cost is the capital multiplied with the real interest rate plus L multiplied W, which L is here is the labor, and V here representing the wages. And as you see here, we are only having the labor, and the only parameter is represented for the variable cost is the labor, and for the fixed cost is probably the credit which is taken from the company for realizing for founding this company. Therefore, total fixed cost is represented with the capital multiplied with the real interest rate, which is going to be delivered to the banking or the financial intermediaries. Total cost is then average variable cost plus average fixed cost multiplied with the quantity of goods, and the total cost is again represented with the L multiplied W plus K multiplied R, which is labor multiplied wages plus capital multiplied with the real interest rate. And labor wages plus capital interest is then the written expression given. Then the total variable cost is then variable cost multiplied with the quantity produced. And when we are putting on the graphic, the marginal cost is supposed to be intersect here the average total cost, and at that point we have the minimum, as I said to you. But then we are questioning now the P is supposed to be then average variable, average revenue and marginal revenue, because P is the price, and is supposed to be P multiplied with the quantity will gives you the revenue, and marginal revenue is supposed to be the additional units which is going to be added to the production operation process is equal to the price, because every price multiplied with 1 unit will give you the marginal revenue. And average revenue, as you are observing, we have done in the cost the 8 from going 8 units to 9 units, then you have 1 unit, therefore the average cost is also will gives you the same, because average cost or average revenue is also represented with the total revenue divided to the Q. And as you are observing here, average total cost above the average total cost. If the price is above the total cost, average total cost, then we have the profit, as you are observing here. This then means price equal to the average revenue, and average revenue equals to the marginal revenue, because additional marginal revenue is the additional price contribution to the firm's production operation process, and average revenue is this average contribution to this production operation process, and price is the unit price given. Therefore, this is supposed to be each other equal. And the marginal revenue, as I mentioned to you, delta total revenue divided to delta Q, as we did it for the marginal cost, delta total cost divided to the delta Q. And here we are going to divide this delta total revenue divided to the delta Q, which is total revenue is Q multiplied with P. And as I said to you, Q is the quantity and P is the price. And here delta total revenue means the 8, if we are in the 8 units will be multiplied with the price, and 9 unit will be multiplied also with the price, and you're going to subtract from each other, then you will get this delta total revenue, or you just subtract the quantity and multiply it with the price, then you will get this delta total revenue. And delta Q is then 9 minus 8 will then gives you then the 1 unit differentiation, which will help you to estimate the marginal revenue. And this marginal revenue has also represent the price and also average revenue, as we mentioned on the graphic. Average revenue, marginal revenue, and price are supposed to be equal. And when it is above the average total cost, we are having profit for the firm. And marginal revenue is then change in total revenue divided to the change in quantity of goods, which means delta total revenue last unit will be subtracted from the revenue before the last, will be divided to the quantity, last units of quantity produced will be subtracted from the before the last unit quantity. This will then give you the marginal revenue. And the marginal cost, as I mentioned to you, delta total cost divided to delta Q. And marginal cost, change in total cost, will be divided to the change in quantity of goods. And profit then is going to be given to you total revenue minus total cost, which is then P minus average total cost multiplied with the quantity. Because as I have represented and showed you on the graphic, this differentiation between average total cost and price will give you the profit. The area after the average total cost, which multiplied with the quantity, the differentiation between price and average total cost, the area, the blue area on the graphic, if you remember, is then multiplied with the quantity. Again, we are calculating the area here. Then this will then give you the profit. If you remember the surplus, how we calculate the squares, the rectangular or right squared or right angled or the angle triangles formula we use. Here then we are using also the rectangular formula. P minus average total cost is the vertical lines, let's say distance, and the Q is the horizontal lines. Distance will be multiplied each other. Then this will then gives you this rectangular area on the graphic. I am going to show you because probably you are not understanding here. This blue area, P minus average total cost, will be subtracted from each other and multiplied with the Q, which is produced units. Then this will then give you the profit amount. I hope you are understanding. If you have any problem with this, then tell me. Then I will explain to you. Is it okay?
Sir, can you explain this graph again?
This profit, as I said to you, above the average total cost is, as you are understanding, if you exceed the above total cost, you are having here the profit, isn't it? Therefore, if the average total cost is if the price is above the average total cost, then you are having here profit as it is expected. And therefore, it is good for this firm because they are having some profit. And when you are calculating the profit, then you have to use again the rectangular formula, which is then subtracting price, which is represented with the P, subtracted from the average total cost, ATC is represented here. this vertical line differences will give you the vertical distance for this rectangular blue area, and you're gonna multiply it with the quantity which is in the x-axis represented, the Q quantity. Then quantity multiplied with this price differentiation between price and average total cost will give you the profit. So-called the distance between P and average total cost difference will be multiplied with the quantity which is in the x-axis, which is on the horizontal axis. Then the blue area will be estimated, which is the formula for the rectangular, because you know the formula for the rectangular is A multiplied B, isn't it? The vertical and the horizontal two lines, if you multiply it, then you're gonna find the square line area, isn't it? You know this from the geometry. Therefore, you are finding here,
Yes, sir.
you are finding here the profit. But of course, this is the simplest representation to you.
Sir, can you explain this again? This MR and profit?
MR is the marginal revenue, the additional revenue which is added to the firm is supposed to be the price, isn't it? The 1 unit contribution is the profit also, is the marginal revenue, isn't it? Because if you are selling 8 units and you're gonna sell the 9 units, this 9 units from moving from 8 to 9 is the marginal revenue, isn't it? Because you're gonna multiply the 9th unit's price. From 8 to 9, you have 1 units, and you're gonna multiply this delta TR is the price multiplied quantity, isn't it? The differentiation of the Q will be multiplied with the price for finding the delta TR. And this delta TR will be divided to the delta Q, which is again moving from 8 units to 9 units is again 1 unit. Then this will then give you the price only. As you are understanding, 1 to 1, 1 multiplied, because moving from 8 to 9 is the unit estimation for the marginal revenue multiplied with the price. And if moving from 9 to 8 is 1, will be divided to the moving from Q8 units to 9 is going to be again 1. Then therefore this 1 unit is cancelled, and then here we are having only the price. Therefore marginal revenue has also meant it is the price. If you are adding to the marginal revenue into the question, then you are understanding this is also the price. And marginal revenue is equal to price, and price is equal to the average revenue, because average revenue is also estimated in this direction with delta total revenue divided to the Q, and total revenue when you are dividing this Q will give you the price again. Therefore, this is all equally distributed. And here we are giving here marginal revenue is represented with delta TR dividing to delta Q, which means delta TR is Q last unit minus Q before the last unit will be multiplied with the price divided to the Q last unit before, and subtracting with the Q before the last unit. Let's say Q2 minus Q1 will be multiplied with the price divided to the Q2 minus Q1. Therefore, Q2 minus Q1 will be cancelled because denominator and the numerator are the same. You're gonna cancel this delta 2 minus so-called Q2 minus Q1, or delta Q over delta Q is cancelled, and P is going to be equal to the marginal revenue, and marginal revenue, as I said to you, is the price. And for the marginal cost is then delta total cost dividing to delta Q, and delta total cost is again, you know, total cost is then estimated with the delta Q over delta C total cost, sorry, over Q, or the total cost over Q will be divided to delta Q, and delta Q is again Q2 minus Q1, and total Q is again Q2 minus Q1 will be multiplied with this amount, and this will then give you the marginal cost, and the marginal cost will be then equal to change in total cost dividing to the change in quantity of goods. And as I said to you, change in total cost is the differentiation of this total cost from the last to the former, also called the total cost 2 minus total cost 1 will be divided to the Q, let's say Q2 minus Q1, then this will then give you the marginal cost, which is then again 1 unit cost, also called the 1 unit cost, as it is given in the graphic. And then profit is then total revenue minus total cost, will then gives you then profit, which is here represented with this rectangular area formula. P minus ATC, average total cost, ATC, is the differentiation or the difference on the vertical line for this rectangular area will be multiplied with the quantity, which is the horizontal line, so-called rectangular areas estimation, where we are having on the geometry, the rectangular area will be calculated with A multiplied with B for finding the area. And here is the difference between P minus average total cost will gives you the vertical lines difference and the distance, and Q the horizontal line distance. And when you are multiplying each other, then you will get this profit easily. Or you may use this total revenue, total cost, as I mentioned to you in the estimations and in the calculations here. Okay. And total cost minus total revenue, if it is high, then there is loss. And if it is vice versa, total revenue, if it is higher than the total cost, this will then win, so-called the profit. Break-even point, value of quantity of goods where average revenue, average total revenue is equal to average total cost. And profit maximizing conditions is given marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, as I have mentioned to you. It is going to be given to you, and marginal cost minus marginal revenue minus marginal cost will be equal to the demand curve, or so-called the price. And for competitive markets, price equal to marginal cost and marginal revenue. And this is then the principle for estimating the profit maximizing condition. And here it is given again the example for you, the marginal cost, delta total cost. Price is given for the trips. Number of trips given for the years, and total variable cost is given. And total revenue is also given, and marginal revenue is also given, and marginal cost. Let's have a look here what is happening. Then price per tip is $1, then 0.90, 0.80, 0.70, 0.60, 0.50, it goes like this. And number of trips, it's going as much as you are enlarging it, it's becoming smaller, as you see. It is one trip, then second trip, then third trip, fifth trip, then sixth trip. It goes like this. Then the total variable cost is also given 0.70, 1.2, 1.80, 2.90, and 4.2. And it goes like this, 6. Then total revenue here is also given. Then 1.80, 2.40, 2.80, 3 point, and 3 point. The marginal revenue and marginal cost is asked to you here. The marginal revenue, as you are understanding, is delta total revenue divided to delta Q. And when you are looking to the trip, number of trips is the quantity, and the price is the total revenue, so-called the calculated. Then you are going to subtract $1.1, let's say, to 1.80. It is 80, and dividing to the 1 is going to give you then the marginal revenue, which is then delta total revenue is 1.80 minus 1, divided to the one trip to the other trip is 2 minus 1 is again 1, then will give you 0.80. To the next trip, when you are moving to calculate the revenue or marginal revenue, again you are going to subtract 2.40 from 1.80, then it gives you 0.60. Then again, the trips is always unique increase, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. As you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is unique. It is increased at the same level. Constant increase is observed here, 1.234. Therefore, when you are dividing this delta Q is always delta Q1, and then when you are gonna divide this delta total revenue is then giving you then total revenue. As I mentioned to you, there is no need to estimate the total revenue again and again, because the differentiation between these revenues then will give you the marginal revenue, because the increase of the number of trips increase is always constantly enlarged, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. And when you go to the third one, is going to be 2.80 minus 2.40, then it gives you 0.40 divided to 1. Again, 0.40 is obtained. Then for the fifth trips, when you're gonna the fifth trips, then 3, let's say, million is given here, is subtracted from the 2.80, then is going to give you 0.20. Then this will then divide it to the again 1. Then this will gives you again 0.20. And for the last one, again 3 million subtracting from 3 million is 0. Therefore, marginal revenue is here nothing. Then dividing to 1 is 0 again. You understand the marginal revenue. And when you are going to marginal cost, you are going to the upper part, the third line. Then you're gonna subtract the 1.2 million from 0.70. Is going to, because marginal revenue is delta total revenue divided to delta Q, or delta to quantity, or quantity differentiation, also called the total cost differentiation, will be divided to the total quantity differentiation or difference. And here we are having here 0.7 and 1.12. 1.12 minus 0.7 is 0.5. Is gonna again divide it to the delta Q, which is number of trip is the delta Q. Then is 1. When you're going to divide this 0.50 to 1, then is 0.50. When you go to the third one, then you're going to subtract 1.80 subtracting from 1.2. Then it is giving you 0.6. Then 0.6 divided to 1 for getting the marginal cost. The marginal cost is again 0.60. For the fourth one, you're going to get 2.90 minus 1.80. Then it is giving you 1.1. Then this will then makes again 1.1, because the differentiation of the number of trips is again 1. Then the fifth one is 4.2 minus 2.9. Then you have here 1.3 divided to 1, again 1.3. And for the last one, 6 million per year, the total cost subtracted from the 4.2. Then is going to give you 1.80. Then this 1.80 million divided to the 1 million trips per year, which is given in a million. Then 1 trip divided, then again 1.80 divided to 1, then is giving you the marginal cost, again 1.80. If you don't understand, let me repeat again. If you understand, then I will go to the next slide. Is okay here? Because
I don't know.
You didn't understand?
Yes, yeah. Yes, I don't understand.
I have
Okay.
I have a question.
You have question?
Yes, I mean the total variable cost is when you divide it, that is the time that you have the marginal cost, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. And total revenue divided to the look.
Yeah, total variable cost.
Look, you are seeing on the above there is a marginal cost formula, delta total cost divided to delta quantity. And for the marginal revenue, we are dividing delta total revenue to delta Q. Okay, we are starting first the marginal revenue estimation. And marginal revenue will be estimated with delta total revenue, divided to the delta Q. And marginal revenue here, as you are observing, delta total revenue has also meant you are going to subtract the second one from the first one. 1.80 will be subtracted. I am talking about for the fourth line. Okay, 1.80 subtracted from the 1 million which is 1, let's say. 1.80 subtracted from the 1 is going to give you 0.80 as a total revenue differentiation. Therefore, delta total revenue differentiation is 0.80. And for the delta Q, the number of trips is the quantity Q, and the differentiation will give you delta Q. Therefore, 2 minus 1 for the first line. For the second line I'm talking about, 2 minus 1 will give you the number of trips quantity in a quantity, number of quantity of trips, so which is here in million, then will gives you 1 unit again. Therefore, you're gonna subtract the marginal, you're gonna estimate the marginal revenue by dividing the delta total revenue to delta total Q. Therefore, we are having here the delta total revenue 0.80 and delta total Q or delta Q is 1, and 0.80 divided to 1 is going to give you the marginal revenue also as 0.80. Is it clear here? Is okay?
Yes.
Then we are going to the second one for the marginal revenue estimation. We are estimating now, we are questioning then 0.60, how we are getting this 0.60. Then we are going again the total revenue, and total revenue here, as you are observing on the fourth line, is for the third trip on the second line. You see the third trip is 2.40 as a total revenue given. You understand? This 2.40 will be subtracted from the 1.80 because, as I said to you, delta total revenue is then the last will be subtracted from the former. 2.40 subtracted from the 1.80, then this will then give you 0.60 for the 1, 2, 3, 4 for the fifth line. You got it? Then you are having here 0.60 marginal revenue for the second trip, for the third trip. Differentiation between the third and second is 0.60. Then the total revenue differentiation is 0.60, and the number of trips differentiation is 3 minus 2, sorry, is again 1 million trip is realized because number of trips is always unique, and 1 million is increasing. 1 unit is changed. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as you see. Therefore, delta total revenue must be divided to the delta total Q, and here then we are dividing this 0.60 to 1, then this will then give you the marginal revenue as 0.60. And when you go to the fourth trip, then the marginal revenue estimation for the fourth trip, then you are gonna subtract this fourth line. On the fourth line, this 2.80 million total revenue will be subtracted from the 2.40. Okay, and this will then gives you the differentiation is 0.40 is the difference between this total revenue. Therefore, delta total revenue we are having here 0.40. This 0.40 then will be divided to the delta Q, and delta Q again here is the number of trips for the fourth trip is 4 trip minus 3 trips, so called the 4 million trips minus 3 million trips is going to give you 1 million again. Then when you're gonna divide this one, then this will then gives you 0.40 as a marginal revenue. You got this? Is enough, or shall I have to continue? And for the marginal cost, if you are understanding the marginal revenue, the marginal cost is similarly realized. The marginal cost is concentrated. Now the total variable cost will be divided to the total quantity, delta total quantity, which is again the number of trips. Therefore, we are now taking the third line here. The differentiation between the second trip and the one trip is 1, and the total variable cost is 1.2 and 0.7. The differentiation is 0.50. 0.50 will be divided because the delta total cost is the 0.50. The difference between 1.2 and 0.70 will be the 0.50 divided to the delta Q, and delta Q, as I said to you, is 1 unit. Then this is then giving you the marginal cost as 0.50. And for the second one, when you are looking to the total variable cost, the third trips and third line, third column is 0.80, and the third trip will be subtracted from the second trip is going to give you 1 million again, and the total variable cost will be subtracted from each other. 1.80 will be subtracted from the 1.20. This is then giving you 0.60. then marginal cost is then delta total cost divided to delta Q. Therefore, 0.60, the total variable cost differentiation, 0.60 will be divided to the number of trips, which is again 1. Then this will then give you 0.60 for the marginal cost. And the last one I'm going to do for the fifth one, I'm going to do 5 minus 4 for the number of trips. Again, 1 million trips is obtained, and the differentiation of the total variable cost for the fifth trip is 4.20, and for the 4 trips is 2.90. Therefore, the differentiation of this is 1.30, and this 1.30 is going to divide it to the, because marginal cost is estimated with delta total cost dividing to delta Q. Then the total variable cost differentiation will give you the delta total cost, which is 1.30, will be divided to the delta Q, and delta Q here is 5 minus 4 is again 1 unit as a trip quantity realized, 1 million so-called. Then this will then give you the marginal cost as 1.3. I hope you understand now. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because it is really very difficult to explain online when we are having some applications. It is better to explain on the board always, but we don't have here a whiteboard. And here again, one example, the quantity price, the total revenue, as you see, 1 multiplied 6 is going to give you the total revenue. P multiplied Q is 6. For the second unit, 2 multiplied 6 is going to 12. 3 multiplied 6 is going to give you 18. 4 multiplied with 6 is going to give you 24. 5 multiplied 6 is going to give you 30, and it goes like this. For the average revenue is, as I said to you, is total revenue divided to the Q, as we are estimating for the average variable cost and average total cost. Average variable cost is the total variable cost divided to the Q, and average fixed cost is divided to the total fixed cost divided to Q. And here we are dividing the total revenue to the Q. Okay, total revenue divided to Q, and therefore total revenue here is 6, and you're gonna divide it to the 1 is going to give you 6. The total revenue for the second unit going to be 12 divided to the Q is going to be 12 divided to 2 is again 6. 18 divided to 3 is going to give you 6. 24 divided to 4 again gives you the 6. Therefore, average revenue is always divided the quantity which is produced, the number of quantity which is produced, and this is then unique, always 666. For the marginal revenue, then delta total revenue will be divided to the delta Q. Here you will be understanding better because this is simple, a little bit more clear. Then we are having here delta total revenue. You're gonna subtract from 2 liter, let's say something, will be subtracted from the 1 liter for the delta Q, and for the delta total revenue is going to subtract 12, the third column, 12 euro subtracted from the 6. Therefore, we have 6 here, 6 divided to 1, because here the quantity is unique again. It is constant, increased, 1 unit, second unit, third unit, fourth unit, fifth unit, sixth unit. In the first column, you are observing the quantity liter produced is always steadily with 1 unit increase is increasing. Therefore, every 1 additional unit's contribution is 6 euro price cost, and the total revenue for the company is always multiplied with 6. And as you are observing, the marginal revenue when we are calculating is the delta total revenue, and when you are subtracting every additional liter quantity added to the company will be subtracted from each other, and this is always 1 unit. And for delta total revenue, as you are observing, the total revenue is here, the differentiation is considered here. Then you're gonna, for the estimating 2 liters, 12 minus 6 is 6 divided to 1 will give you then 6 marginal revenue. Then for the third one, you're gonna estimate, for the fourth one, estimate 18 minus 12. Is it 4 or 1? third one. You're gonna 18 minus 12, then is going to give you 6, and 6 going to divide 3 minus 2 is again 1, then is going to give you again marginal revenue 6. And for the last unit, when you are gonna look 48, you have here the total revenue will be subtracted because you have the 8 units calculation. 8 times 7, 8 times 6 is 48. Then you're gonna estimate the marginal revenue for the 8, and 18 liter X products. Total revenue is 48, and the marginal revenue, which means the additional contribution, you're gonna subtract from the 42. 48 minus 42, because I said to you delta total revenue is the last contribution. Total revenue will be subtracted from the former contribution or former revenue. Therefore, 48 minus 42 will give you again 6, and this 6 will be divided to the 8 minus 7 is again 1, and divide to 1, and 1 6 over 1 is going to give you the marginal revenue again 6. Therefore, here we are having average revenue always 666 and marginal revenue 66666. This is always similar and unique realized. You got it? You have understood, I think. I have explained sufficient, I think. Do you have any question? Or have you any question? Or do you have any question? Is it clear? If you don't, then let me repeat once again. I don't mind.
Yeah, repeat once again.
Okay. So look, quantity is given here is 1 liter, 2 liter, 3 liter, 4 liter, and price is given is again €6 for all additional contribution is €6. Then the total revenue, when it is estimated, you're gonna multiply it with the additional. You're gonna add 1 to 2, 2 to 3, then you're gonna increase the production. Then the production will be increased. Therefore, every additional unit's contribution, if it is estimated, then you're gonna multiply it with the 6 for finding it, and you are observing the moving from 1 unit to 2 unit, it is increasing the revenue from 6 to 12, because 2 times 6 is 12. For the third, 3 times 16 is 18. For the fourth, 4 times 16 is 24. For the fifth, 5 times 6 is 30. You got it? This is the third line. You have understood? Or have you understood this one?
Yes, I understand that.
Yes.
Okay, then the average revenue is delta average revenue is total revenue divided to Q. Therefore, total revenue is here 6, 12, 18, 24 is estimated. Is going to be divided to the Q. And when you are going to estimate the average revenue for the first unit, is going to divide it to the 1. 6 divided to 1 is giving you the 6. And 12 for the second unit's average revenue is going to be divided to the 2. Therefore, 12 divided to the Q, which is 2 units, is going to give you again 6. For the 18, you're going to divide 3 units. This will then give you again 6. For the fourth unit's average revenue is going to divide 24 to the 4, is giving you the 6. For the 30, you're going to divide this 5. Then this will then give you the fifth unit's average revenue. The 1 to the fourth column is also clear, I think. Is okay?
Yes.
Okay, then the marginal revenue is then going to, we are looking then for the marginal revenue, total revenue, and the first column to the Q. Okay, the first column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the third column 6, 12, 18, 24, 13, 36. Okay. Then we want to estimate the marginal revenue. As I said to you, marginal revenue is the differentiation of the total revenue will be divided to the differentiation of the delta Q. Therefore, for finding the second unit's differentiation, because for the first unit, we are not able to calculate, then we are subtracting 12, the third column we are talking about, subtracting the 12 from the 6 for finding the second unit's marginal revenue. Therefore, 12 minus 6 will be divided to the 2 minus 1, and this will then give you 6. This is the first one. We are estimating the second unit. Okay, we are going to the third one. For the third unit's marginal revenue, we are going to estimate 18 minus 12 divided to the 3 minus 2, because the 3 minus 2 is the unit of this product. Therefore, we are having here the marginal revenue again 6. Then we are going to do 24th total revenue for the fourth unit. And here then 24th minus 18 is going to give you 6 unit. And for the fourth unit's marginal revenue, then you're gonna subtract 4 minus 3 is going to give you 1. Therefore, delta total revenue is 30 minus 24 is 6, and 5 minus 4 is going to give you the 1. Then this is then 6 again. Then this is the reason marginal revenue is always 666, and total revenue is also unique increase, and this will then gives you the unique marginal revenue for this example. I hope you understand now.
Yeah.
Okay, then we are moving to the next slide. Here we are having here the quantity, total revenue, total cost, profit, marginal revenue, marginal cost, and profit. We are having a little bit more complicated. Then the quantity is given again here 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and the total revenue is given 6, 12, which is estimated in the former graphic. And the total cost is also given here $3, 3 euro, sorry, 5 euro, 8 euro, 12 euro, 17 euro, 23 euro for the fifth one, 30 euro for the sixth one, 38 euro for the seventh one. For the 8 units, 47 unit or euro is estimated total cost. Therefore, we are having here the profit, total revenue minus total cost. And when you are subtracting the total revenue minus total cost, as you are observing for the first unit, we are having negative minus 3 euro total, let's say, revenue, which is negative units. There is a negative cost. There is a cost still in the company. Then you are going to move to the second one for estimating the second, the first one, 1 liter estimation. Then you are subtracting the total revenue, for the first liter from the cost, 6 minus 5, then will give you then 1 euro as a total profit. And you are moving to the second unit or second liter. Then we are having here 12 minus 18. Then we are having the total profit, or so-called the profit, 4 units. For the third one, you are moving 18 minus 12. It gives you then 6 euro profit. For the fourth unit, 24 minus 17, then the total revenue minus total cost we are estimating is giving you 7 euro. For the sixth one, 36 minus 30, then this will then gives you again 6 euro. And the last one, let's say 48 minus 47 for the 8 units or 8 liter products profit, as you are observing, is 1 euro. And here you may say the total profit is observed between 4 and 5th units. Therefore, this films a better position or best possible combination for reaching the highest profit is realized at 4th or 5th combination or production level. You are understanding that when you are having this marginal revenue, and marginal revenue we estimated in the former graphic is I explained already, we are using the total revenue divided to the quantity. We explained this. And marginal cost similarly estimated with the cost. You're gonna subtract 5 minus 3 for the first unit, divided to the 1 minus 0 is giving you the marginal cost is $2 euro. For the second unit, you're gonna subtract it from 4 units. We are talking about for the total cost. Therefore, for the 2 units, we are subtracting the total cost. 8 minus 5 will be divided to the 1, because the quantity always in units amount is increasing. Therefore, the delta Q is always 1. There is no need to repeat this. Therefore, delta total cost here is subtracted for the second unit. 8 minus 5 is 3 euro. For the third one, 12 minus 8 is 4 euro. for the 4 units, 17 minus 12 is 5 euro. For the 5 units is going to 23 minus 7 is 6 euro. For the 6 units, 30 minus 23 is 7 euro. It goes like this: marginal cost and the change in profits as it is given here. Then you are getting the profit changes between this. You have here marginal revenue minus marginal cost, and marginal revenue is given here 6 and marginal cost is 2. Then the cost, which is expected to be 6 minus 2 is 4 euro, and for the rest is also 6, the marginal revenue, and the cost is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It goes like this. Then you're gonna subtract 6 minus 3 is 3 euro. 6 minus 4 is 2 euro. 6 minus 5 is 1 euro. And 6 minus 6 is 0 euro. And 6 minus 7 is, as I said to you, between 4th and 7th, between 4 and 5th, you are having the highest profit. And after this, the change in profit you are observing here between the marginal cost and marginal revenue. The differences between marginal cost and marginal revenue you are giving here. There is a 0, which is the minimum point realized at 5, and after 5 it goes to negative. Therefore, this firm's productivity realized at let's say 5 and 4, and then it goes to negative. Therefore, you have to suggest this firm's productivity best possible combination realized at the minimum point where the marginal cost intersect the total cost, and the marginal revenue, marginal cost intersecting each other becomes 0. This is then the 5th unit. Okay, you have understood, I think, this graphic. Then I'm moving to the next one. Is it clear? If it is not, let me remind you again.
It's okay.
If don't, then let me refresh you. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes, maybe just someone.
Yes, okay, yes.
I can repeat you the cost and the change in profit because you are new here. The total cost, as I said to you, is estimated here 3 euro, 5 euro, 8 euro, 12 euro, because this is given to you. And the total cost minus total revenue is estimated is minus 3, and then it goes. You understand how we estimated this, isn't it? 6 minus 5 is going to give you 12 minus 8. You understand this part, the profit. 12 minus 8, 4 euro. 8 minus 12, 6 euro. 24 minus 17 is 7 euro. 30 minus 23, 7 euro. 36 minus 30 is 6 euro. It goes like this for estimating the profit. For marginal revenue, as I said to you, we estimated from the former graphics. And marginal cost, as I said to you, is the delta total cost dividing to delta Q. And delta total cost is given here 3, 5, 8, 12, 17. The third column will be divided to the quantity. And quantity is always 1. Therefore, delta Q is always 1. There is no need to estimate only the marginal cost, or the total cost estimation is enough. Therefore, delta total cost differentiation is enough to find the marginal cost. Then we are subtracting 5 minus 3. The total cost I'm talking about, the third column, is 2. Then 2 divided to 1 is going to give you 2 marginal costs for the first story. And 8 minus 5 for the third column, for the second unit, then is going to give you the 3 euro marginal cost. And when it is divided to the delta Q, it is 1 again. Then this will then give you again 3. And then when you are going to the fourth, you're gonna you're gonna divide 12 minus 8 is 4. This is then 4 divided to 1 because the quantity is 1. Then this will then gives you 4. And then you move to 4. Then 17 minus 12 is 5 units, and the 5 units divided to 1, then will give you the marginal cost 5. Then it goes like this for the last unit marginal cost estimation. 47 minus 38 is going to give you 9. Marginal cost is then again 9 because delta Q is 1, because you are always in the first column, you are observing the change differentiation of the quantity is always 1 unit. Therefore, it gives you always the same number when you are taking the differentiation of this total cost between each other. 47 minus 38 is 9. Therefore, the total cost differentiation is also the marginal cost. And the change in profit here, then we are having the third column. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth column will be subtracted from the sixth column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth column will be subtracted from the fifth one. Therefore, fifth column will be subtracted from the sixth one. Marginal revenue will be subtracted from the marginal cost. Therefore, 6 minus 2 is 4 euro. 6 minus 3, 3 euro. 6 minus 4, 2 euro. 6 minus 5, 1 euro. 6 minus 6, 0 euro. This is then the minimum point. As you are observing at 5, it is realized. And the profit is the highest at that level, as you are observing. And after this, it goes to negative. Therefore, the change in profit is becoming negative. This means these companies should maintain their production operation process between 4 and 5. After 5, it goes to negative. The profit is not going to bring more, let's say, revenue to the market, to this company. Therefore, it is advised to maintain their production operation at that level. This is then the graphic and in the interpretation. If you have any question, ask me. If not, then I'm going to the next slide. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we have here the marginal cost, average total cost, and average variable cost. As you are observing, we are having here then the revenue, the marginal revenue, marginal cost intersecting each other. And as I said to you, at that level, it is supposed to be, we have the profit. And if it is above the average total cost, this means there is a profit. If it is below this, there is no profit. If this marginal revenue curve is below the average total cost curve, there is no profit. It means, but here, as you are observing, we have profit. And this intersection, marginal cost and marginal revenue, where it is 0, at the graphic also and at the table we are illustrated, is supposed to be the best possible combination for this company for realizing the profit. And the firm's maximizing profit by producing the quantity at which marginal cost curve equals to marginal revenue, as I have mentioned to you. And this is then the price and also the demand curve, so-called, for this graphic. And the average total cost curve is represented here, average variable cost curve, and the marginal cost curve is given here. Then this is then the marginal cost curve is also the firm supply curve, supposed to be, is realized because marginal cost is also the curves which is supplied. And when we are looking to the supply and the average total average variable cost curve, you are observing here until the P0 level to reaching to the intersection point of this average variable cost, the firm entering market when P is higher than average variable cost and average total cost, where profit is available. Therefore, here, if the red line below the average variable cost, then there is no need to enter to the firm into the market for becoming competitive. It is realized and expected to become at P1 or P2 level for reaching to the better off position and reaching and getting some profit. Therefore, firm short run curve, supply curve is represented on the MC also. As I said, this is then the supply curve either. And at that level, firms shut down if P0 is below the average variable cost curve. There is no need to maintain this production because this is not profitable area. And if the firm is above the average variable cost curve, then they will continue, the firm will continue to produce in the short run. And if P2 is above average total cost, the firm will continue to produce at profit. It is estimated, but where marginal cost curve is intersecting the marginal revenue, which is not illustrated here, then this is then the best possible option. And if it is going above this, then this is then not good for maintaining the production. Therefore, it is advised to have always the intersection marginal revenue, marginal cost curve for the firms for realizing the best possible combination for the profit. Then here once again is given to you the marginal cost curve and marginal so-called the supply curve is represented here with the average total cost curve. And here, as you are observing, the line, the red line, which is going vertical to the cost and intersect then the average total cost curve, is the minimum point for starting the profit. And above this, it is expected to have some profit for the firms. And when we are looking to the graphical illustration here, where the marginal cost curve, average total cost curve, and the price is intersecting each other, and it is above the average total cost curve, then we have here the profit, so-called. And you are observing here, now we calculated this also on the graphic, the difference between P minus average total cost curve multiplied with the Q on the horizontal line. This will give you this shaded blue line, blue area for the profit, for estimating the profit. And firms enter in the market only if P is higher than the average total cost curve, as I mentioned to you. It should be higher than the red line should exceed this blue line, this average total cost curve, for having some profit. Otherwise, this will not be a profitable area. In the long run, it is represented also. Firms enter to the market if the P is above the average total cost curve, and firms exit if the average total cost curve is below, the marginal cost curve is below the average total cost curve, so-called the price level is below the average total cost curve. And here is again the price is equal to demand curve, and demand curve is equal to average revenue, and average revenue is equal to marginal revenue, because as I said to you, price has also represent the demand, and demand has also, as we estimated in the graphic, in the table, sorry, is the average revenue, and average revenue is the marginal revenue, is equal to the marginal revenue. And for the profit maximizing, it is expected the profit maximizing point realized where the marginal revenue and marginal cost curve is intersecting each other. And above this, it is supposed to be not very good for the firm. It's starting to reduce, as you see on the graphic, on the table, sorry. This is not good for the firm for maintaining the production operation process above this intersection point, this marginal revenue and marginal cost curves. And between this area, there is always profit. And here, as you are observing, now we have the price, so-called the marginal cost curve is below, and marginal revenue is below the equilibrium, below the average total cost curve. And if it is so, the average total cost curve exceeds the price, so-called the marginal revenue and average revenue, then we have loss here. This purple shaded area is the loss. Is not good for the economy. Therefore, either the firm should increase and enlarge the price for maintaining their profitable business. Otherwise, if they are insisting for maintaining their prices at that level, at that low level, and the marginal revenue is also low and the average revenue is low, then this firm is a loser. The marginal curve is also the firm's supply curve, as I mentioned to you. This is the supply curve is represented. The price quantity, the marginal cost, and the supply is similarly illustrated, as you are observing. And then we are looking to the constant industry, the long run average cost curve, the long run marginal cost curve, supposed to be here, the intersecting each other. And R represent the marginal cost is equal to the average cost. And here they are also equal to the price. As you are observing, it is the price level also intersecting each other. And the output is at between O and, or the origin, started from the origin, goes to M, where it is the output, so-called the quantity produced. And this means marginal cost, average cost, and price is becoming equal for the constant cost industries. And now look at this figure, which is given here, the corresponding to the OP, the long run supply curve is long run supply curve, and which is horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis as it is represented here. This is in the long run, unfortunately, like this is not affected from the price changes. And this means the output along the x-axis price is the same as the price. And the marginal cost and the average cost are equal, and the cost remains the same because it is constant cost industry. Here is represented. We are in the long run, supposed to be. This is then the similar explanation with the long run aspect. You are observing here the long run average cost curve and the long run marginal cost curve intersecting again here each other, and the price is also intersecting, and at that point it is supposed to be the profit is realized, and the constant cost is remaining same because it is in the constant cost industry supposed to be. And the zero profit meant the price is equal to marginal cost and the average total cost, as I have explained to you several times. At the intersection point, you are observing the supply curve is here at the minimum. The price is also minimum when the average total cost curve intersecting the marginal cost curve and the average total cost curve. These are intersecting each other. Then this will then the minimum or the starter to the profit. And the marginal cost curve and the average total cost curve intersecting each other. This is the starter point, as I mentioned to you. And here the short run supply curve is realizing the long run supply curve here on the right side is given to you. This is then the initial condition for the films. And if it is going up to the average total cost curve, film entering the market when P is higher than the average variable cost and average total cost curve where profit is available and marginal revenue, marginal cost, and price is equal. Therefore, if P is above the average total cost curve and average variable cost curve, there is some profit available. If it is intersecting the average total cost curve, then this is then problem because it is in the starting point to enlarge and increase the market. And if it is shifted to the lower, higher level, as you are observing here, from P1 to P2 on the right side of the graphic, then this film's production capacity is enlarged and the price is also enlarged. But in the long run, supply curve is not affected. You see the profit is again realized at that level where the price and the supply is shifted higher level. Then the P1 is going to the P2 on the right side, and on the left side, you see there is now profit because if the price, so-called the demand curve, intersect the marginal cost and average variable cost and everything is intersecting each other, this is then the starter points. If this is above the average total cost curve or average variable cost curve, then this will then create some profit for the firms, and this is then the expected solution for the firm's maintenance, for firm's existence. And in the long run, as you are observing, the balance is realized again because in the long run, supply curve is balancing the economy because it is shifted and creates some profit. But as you are understanding, when this supply is shifted to the right, the demand will also affect it and comes to the demand curve shifted to the right, and the supply curve is shifted to the right also and becomes slower, smaller, and let's say lower level, and this will then reduce the price for creating sustainable movements to the economy. Otherwise, you are enlarging and increasing the price continuously, and this is not possible in the competitive market because the demand capacity is, and the demand is also affecting and changing the market, and is not possible to always increasing and enlarging the profit without considering the demand capacity. Do you have any problem with this graphics? Because this is a little bit second class knowledge. Maybe after next year you will becoming more familiar to these graphics, but now I am explaining you how the market structure affecting with this price changes and the profit and the marginal cost, marginal revenues. If you have any question, you ask me. If not, then I'm going to the last slides because this is the finish.
Yeah, I want to know which slide you discussing because from which slide the feedback.
Which graphic? I'm talking about the right one.
Which slide? Slide number what?
Slide 24,
Okay.
because we are in the last slide.
Sir, can you explain us slide 24 and 23 again?
Yeah, wait.
24 or 23?
And 20, both of them.
This one.
So I didn't understand the long run and the short run.
Okay. I'm cleaning everything, then you will understand. Okay. This. Okay. Okay, you understand this. This is zero profit when price is equal to marginal cost and average total cost. We are understanding this because average total cost means cost. This is something costly to you. And marginal cost intersecting each other. This means there is the minimum cost there. And if here the supply curve is supposed to be the price also realized in the market, then the firm marginal cost and average total cost intersecting each other, and the price is also intersecting each other, as it is in a principle. And the short run supply curve is always realized parallel, proportional to the price, and the demand is inversely proportional, you know. And the long run supply curve is supposed to be not affected from the price changes because it is in the long run price ineffective for enlarging and changing the market. Therefore, price supposed to be stable. It is represented here. And in short run, firm enter the market when price is higher than the average variable cost, as I mentioned to you, because average variable cost, if the price is above the average variable cost or average total cost, there is profit because cost is creating some burden to the firm, but price, if it is above this burden, above this cost, it is increasing the firm's profit rate. And therefore, if this marginal cost and marginal revenue and price intersecting each other, this is then the starter points where we are expecting some profit realized. Profit will be expected after this intersection point, where it is realized for the competitive market. Price is equal to marginal revenue and marginal cost. And if this marginal revenue and marginal cost and price is equal each other and intersect each other, and it is above the average variable cost and above the average total cost, there is always profit. If it is below, there is not profit. There is no profit. And it is supposed that results of these starter points, the firm decided and the demand capacity is enlarged because the starter point where the price is lower level, shifting the demand capacity to the higher level, and it is realized at D1 level. So-called D1 to D2 level. Sorry, the long run supply is stay intact, but the supply is affected, and shifted first the supply to the B level because there is demand. Demand is supposed to be enlarged. And this then creates some surplus and some profit to the firm and moves from P1 to P2. As you are observing on the left side, the curve, the average variable cost curve and the average total cost curve now is below the P2 because before P1 is below or somehow it is intersecting the average variable cost curve, but now it is above the average variable cost curve and average total cost curve, this P2 level, P2 line on the left side of the graphic. This is realized because on the right side, this demand, which is enlarged, created some, let's say, supply, caused some supply shift to the economy. Is it clear? Then I'm going to the next slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as I said to you, because of these price changes and enlargement of the market, some profit is enlarged, but in the long run, we are talking about in the long run, this is affected because long run is always creating some pressure on the economy because demand capacity is becoming results of these higher prices is affected and reduced, and this is then shifting the price from P2 to P1 again, and this will then enlarge the supply and reduce somehow to the lower level, this price, and in the long run, as you are observing, the production shifted from Q1 to Q2 and Q3, and this is then the reason because there is a pressure in the market for reducing the price because price not affecting too much the long run supply curve and bringing the market to the equilibrium, and then the firm's profit somehow becomes again to the lower level. This was the class for this semester. I will give you some information about the exam if you like to listen, if you want to know some knowledge, because on Monday we have at 10 some exam, and I have to give you some information about the exam. You can watch these videos online, and the PowerPoints also you can download from the Teams or videos you can see on the Ergin Fikri Akalber YouTube to refresh your knowledge. And again, you can mail me any question, or from WhatsApp you write me any question, then I reply you. For the exam, I decide to ask you some 40 questions because it is multiple choice, and as much as the question numbers is increasing, it gives you more option to deliver your knowledge, because if it is 10 questions, then it maybe comes from the points where you didn't study well. But if I am asking you more questions, then you will get more knowledge and you will deliver your knowledge better. I am going to offer you 40 questions, multiple questions, some 10 to 12 calculations, easy calculations with the answers of course. And with this multiple choice exam, you will require 70 minutes time to finish. And after this, it is starting from 10 and goes to 11:10. And then after closing your exam, the exam is finished, then you will have some 10 minutes more to submit your exam. But it is better to submit on time. If you are exercising problem, I can do anything because this is online education and everything is, as you are understanding, recorded, and I cannot intervene and correct your answers or put your answers into the system because it is closed, and then I can also not intervene. As I said to you, 40 questions will be fair for you. This will help you to deliver your knowledge. It is not too much theory, but some simplest applications. I will give you a scenario, let's say, and then as I did in the midterm exam, then you will read and try to understand what is going to be, or which one is going to be better fitted to this case. You are understanding? I am not going to ask you directly what is this, what is, for example, microeconomics, or what is opportunity cost. I may ask you in the question as a supporting knowledge. Okay, therefore you try to learn, memorize everything is not good. It is better to learn everything, to understand the concept, and this will then help you to do this exam. I am also ready to help you with your assignments. Who submitted his assignment or her assignment will get full points from me this semester. Therefore, if you submitted your assignment and you did some questions, at least 1-2 questions, then you will get full point. If you didn't do anything, then I will give you some questions, some marks also. But more I cannot do. And if you do also this homework that I have uploaded to the system, to the, let's say, PowerPoint, you can also do this, and I will give you some extra points to your final exam. If you have any question, you ask me. If you don't have, then I will finish this class, and hope you will do good exam, and wish you good luck, and hope you will study hard for doing my exam. I want to give you all AA because I like to give my students higher points. This will make me happy.
Hello, hello.
Do you have any
Thank you.
question?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
I'm listening.
So, yeah, I want to know if we are going to study all of the presentations.
Yes,
that was
sir.
made.
Sir, which chapters are coming in the final exam?
Yeah, which chapters?
Last
Only chapter.
Okay, I will tell you this also. Last lesson I mentioned a little bit, but I will tell you.
Okay, sir.
It is chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 13 and 14. Okay?
Okay,
And
sir.
these are all in the system. You can use the book as I mentioned to you last time. You can watch the videos. This is also comprehensive, or you can just look the PowerPoints on the Teams. As you wish, as much as you are studying more, you will understand better. And once more, if you are not able to succeed this exam and you want to do the summer course, I will open summer course if you want. Those who are not successfully completing this class, and you will probably in the accelerated period learn also, and I in the summer doing faster and exempted chapters will be more easily for you if you are interested. Let me know. I hope you are doing all good marks. You are getting higher results and successfully completing this class also. And then seeing you next semester with the second part of this.
Sir,
Economic.
are you going to be our next economic teacher in the next semester?
Which economics you said?
Sir, for the next semester, are you going to be our economic teacher or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, then see you then on Monday at 10 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you
Okay,
so
sir.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Good luck and thank you very much for joining my class. I am really appreciate for your interest and your hard working.
You are the
Thank
best
you.
one.
Sir,
Thank you so much.
Sir,
I
thank you so
appreciate you.
Subscribe.
You have any question?
Sir, I appreciate your kindness and support.
Thank you.
Our
Thank you very much. I appreciate you all too. Thank you, because we are in the really very difficult period, and we are trying to help each other as much as we can. So good luck your exam period. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.